Trying to think about where I want to start. I really do come in peace. I promise you that much. And I told you that I'm not the crazy one. I'm not crazy. I'm not. This isn't. I'm the bad guy when I talk about O-line objectively. Candidly. Being honest about the situation. So for the last time, because I really do want to enjoy this countdown, and I have nothing against anyone. I don't even think I got the right microphone on. Can y'all hear me? Please say y'all can hear me. Check, check. Nick Harris of the Fort Worth Star-Telegram can say things like, on the flip side, and I quote, the Cowboys, it's not a direct quote. It's paraphrasing, but the Cowboys have, they don't have to take a receiver at 12. Imagine that. There's a thought. Nick Harris can say things like, the Cowboys have become enamored with Josh Simmons. Tackle out of Ohio State. By the way, I'm Lando from the Lando Show.
All right.
And this is Sports Below the Surface.
I am inevitable.
Thank you, Charles. Appreciate you. I come in peace. Like I said, I just want to make that clear. People, I think people just kind of misunderstand the angle a little bit. So that's what I'm here to clean up today. And as fast and efficiently as I possibly can. Because I actually do have a meeting to get to here in about 25, 30 minutes. We'll see when the phone rings. Calvin Watkins, not 4 hours earlier, just today, can say things like, or just at least report, yet another projected first round offensive lineman, that makes 4 now, as a visitor to the Cowboys for their pre-draft 30 visits. No, the pre-draft 30 visits don't mean anything necessarily. And no, they really aren't indicative at all of what the Cowboys are thinking at any particular selection. You don't, or I guess I should say, you don't have to be a 30 visit to be the Cowboys' first round selection. Just ask Tyler Guyton just 1 year ago. Matter of fact, I think last year, Maris Leofau was the only 30 visitor that the Cowboys ended up selecting in the entire draft. So these reports don't mean anything. For me, because I've been on this train for 2 months, really since the season ended, but writing about it, actively discussing it, just trying to, at the very least, get people to see this offense or this team with an open mind. You're not good enough yet up front. And people shutting down I guess we're just going to do it this way. People shutting down O-line at 12 are using the free agent additions from this season as evidence against that. Supportive evidence against that possibility. When, as indicated in the video that I mentioned, that I made today, the short that I posted just now or a little bit ago, who are you hanging your hat on from this free agent pool? The free agent additions. That the Cowboys brought in, these are all bottom of the barrel bargain bin. Brock Hoffman, we know how Shoddy feels about him. Right? What's up, Jim Johnson? To me, the Cowboys using the free agent additions, Hakeem Adeniji, Robert Jones, Saahdiq Charles, are those guys moving the needle for you? Are we sure that they make you better? Those are the questions that I'm asking. I've never said, not once, that the Cowboys don't need a skill position player, that the Cowboys shouldn't draft a receiver at 12. I've just asked folks to view who the Cowboys might have on their board from an open mind and not with clouded recency bias, negative recency bias against one Tyler Guyton. The free agent additions at the offensive line position, as I wrote about today, is just due diligence, right? To me, it's not evidence against O-line being on the board early in the draft or in play. To me, it's more of due diligence and, if we're being completely candid and honest, a little bit of desperation. Continuously adding body after body after body. You've got a 5-man competition at right guard right now. Does that tell you that the Cowboys think they're good with Brock Hoffman? TJ Bass? Saahdiq Charles? Robert Jones? Does that say that they're done? They should be complacent? Or does that suggest something completely different? Turning over every rock. Have we not heard Brian Schottenheimer say that? Have I not written that? Have I not spoken about it on here? Jim Johnson says full rebuild. I would argue, I would say retool is a better way to frame it. You got two Hall of Famers that retire in the same offseason. You know, you're not necessarily rebuilding. That's a tough pill to swallow. But they tried to retool it last year. Jerry's still out on Tyler Guyton. You guys know how I feel. I'm the same. By the way, that's supportive evidence for my case. Like, I'm not just trolling y'all. I'm not just I'm not saying that I don't want these guys to pay. I'm not saying I don't want Brock Hoffman to be an above replacement level starter in this league. I'm not saying that Tyler Guyton isn't going to drastically and significantly improve. As a matter of fact, my resume, my receipts on every social media platform say exactly the opposite. I've presented the case for exactly why Tyler Guyton shouldn't be written off yet, and why it's as a matter of fact, it's foolish to do so. Smooth little transition and segue here into a little side topic. Just cleaning up some other things about what one Big Duke Manyweather said, may or may not have suggested about one Tyler Guyton. No position should be off the board. That's really what the bottom line of that's in its simplest form where I'm at. Because you can't convince me, and I know for a fact, if there's no way y'all can convince yourself, maybe some of you can, honestly, I don't know. I don't want to speak for you. I'll speak for me. You cannot convince me that the Cowboys are solid and stable at left tackle right now and at right guard right now. They're telling you if they felt stable with Brock Hoffman and Robert Jones, would they have gone out and got Saahdiq Charles? If they felt stable with either, I don't know where Hakeem Adeniji is going to play. I mean, probably a guy that's going to project as a guard, I guess, or competition for that position. You still got Asim Richards and a couple of the guys who have been around for a little bit at left tackle. But you can't tell me that the Cowboys feel safe and secure or should act complacent. So that's that. I hope that kind of makes sense and clears up where I'm coming from, right? As I mentioned today, right? I will sit here and tell you, I can present both sides of the equation. I think that's the difference between, once again, speaking for myself here, but me and the people that are mad at me for what I'm saying in my comment section or otherwise about the position is I can be honest about both spots. The need to get better at right guard, at left tackle, if you can, at receiver, if you can, at running back, if you can, at cornerback, if you can. Defensive tackle, one tech, for sure, if you can. The point is there is a world. I want Teteroa McMillan or Emeka Ibuka to be the pick. And I'm a Texas guy. And yes, I intentionally listed Matthew Golden third. I'm not saying that I don't think he's a good player. Just for me, that's a different discussion. I'm going to save that one for tomorrow. We'll talk about Emeka Ibuka and just the receiver room as a whole. But I've got some interesting thoughts there that I think are being somewhat overlooked. If you're following me on Twitter, you probably already know what I'm talking about. Tyler Guyton is, 23 years old? We should still be optimistic about him. Now, let's talk about Big Duke. What Big Duke said, let me pull it up. Right here. Hope y'all can see that. At least clear enough, actually. From Duke, where do you feel Tyler Guyton falls this year on quality starter left tackle scale? Duke's response, honestly, don't know. He's got a lot to figure out to take the leap. That's up to him. Now, let's first understand who Duke is just in case there's any of you out there that are unfamiliar. Duke is one of the most well-respected offensive line coaches, the offensive line mastermind, if you will, and that is his app, I believe, and that's one way to support Big Duke, who has done a lot of fantastic work off of the Cowboys facility, away from the Cowboys facilities, right? Doing his own thing. Look at the resume that he's put together as far as guys that he has trained and coached. Impressive would be an understatement. But Big Duke was not just Tyler Guyton's trainer, coach, teacher, mastermind last year. He was most of the Cowboys' entire offensive line room's coach, teacher, mastermind. To me, I don't think he's saying these things if he's actively coaching, teaching, masterminding Tyler Guyton. So that tells me that obviously Tyler Guyton is no longer working and training with Duke Manyweather. He's not talking about one of his active clients like this, in my opinion. This is a bit of an open-ended but vague. It's almost like I don't even necessarily take this as a. It's not a backhanded compliment. If anything, it's like a pat on the butt. It's like, come on, big fella, need you. Got to step up the intensity. Like, there's a level of maturity of how to carry yourself, how to train, how to work, how to eat, how to sleep when you become a professional. That takes some time. It's part of a maturation process, right? The curve, if you will, the jump from high school to college to pro to all pro to pro to pro bowler to all pro, and all pro to Hall of Fame. There's levels. But here's what I wrote about today. The sports below the surface that you guys tune in for. CowboysCountry.com. My take, as you can see right here. Is this an indictment against Tyler Guyton? perhaps could Big Duke be just a little bit, I don't want to speculate, like I mentioned, but is it a little bit of salt potentially that TG is no longer working with him? Or was Tyler Guyton just not, did he not have what it takes to work with Duke? Does Duke have an expectation that Tyler Guyton couldn't meet? These are all fair questions, right? But what I'm curious to know before I jump to any sort of conclusions about what this indicates for Tyler Guyton's future. And yes, once again, if you're just now tapping in, I am one of the ones who's been very outspoken in favor of Tyler Guyton, not necessarily being dealt a fair hand, fair shake last year. But maybe, just maybe, Tyler Guyton is so on board with the new Cowboys offensive line coaches the way that he has already been candid in his own right on a recent interview, that he made the personal decision to commit solely to the sets of eyes that are now currently within the Cowboys building. Could it be? And Duke is just being honest about the rookie that he worked with and that he saw. All the right tools, started making progress, prior to the first preseason game when he was under the tender love and care of one offensive mastermind, Big Duke Manyweather. Then gotten to like I said, a less than ideal situation, not just for his set of circumstances leading up to his tenure with the Dallas Cowboys, but from the set of circumstances that he was dealt when he was drafted by them. That coaching staff that just so happened to be on an expiring contract fighting for their own coaching lives. Didn't necessarily, Mike Solari, have time to coddle, cultivate, comfort a project rookie making a transition from right to left. Just 4 years in to playing not just tackle full-time, but offensive line, right? 6 years in to being a full-time football player. Full-time basketball up until the 2019 season. Okay? Further context for you while we're here on Tyler Guyton. Inside how Cowboys Tyler Guyton can move from bust to home run. And the home run is a direct quote from Brian Schottenheimer. Not my words. But it just goes to show you, contrary to what Duke is suggesting or what many people have jumped to the conclusions in regards to what he may or may not be suggesting, the coaching staff clearly, at the very least, is excited about the direction that Tyler Guyton is headed. But once again, they can say these things. They can be optimistic about his work, right? Because this could be two completely different Tyler Guytons that we're talking about here. That's what nobody's talking about. People aren't considering that. Cowboys have 2 offensive line coaches now in their building. One's the OC and the other one's the actual O-line coach. But Clayton Adams is the de facto O-line coach. But he has the coordinator designation. Connor Riley will be working alongside him as the offensive line coach. Two guys that have a pretty good idea about the position. Not unlike Duke. This is not a shot on him. But maybe a different perspective with 2 sets of eyes, 2 voices. Teaching things a little bit differently than maybe Duke did. Maybe it resonates stronger with Tyler Guyton. I'm just playing devil's advocate because I've been in those shoes before. A change of scenery for a professional athlete work wonders for you. All right? There's something else that I wanted to add to it. Let me read through this article here real quick. There you go. Right. So the moment he transitioned back under Mike Solari, that upward trajectory seemed to stall and momentum seemed to vanish. So I just wanted to. I guess I'll also do this because this is a good way to get everybody on the same page. We'll close with this because I do need to roll. Here. I want the Cowboys to get better, one way or another, whatever that looks like, right? But my whole stance is that no move made this offseason in free agency is a needle mover, in my opinion. It's fair. If you want to disagree with that, that's okay. And personally, I think the Cowboys are best suited if that is the case. That if you disagree with me and you are correct, if I'm wrong about them actually getting significantly better, if Brock Hoffman really does take that next step, or otherwise, anybody, right? I hope that that's the best case scenario. If it just so happens that the Cowboys' weaponry or skill position talent falls to them accordingly, and that is the highest graded player on their board at that time, they should select him. And then you hope for that jump to occur up front. You hope for the new voices, the new angles, the new perspectives. 2 sets of eyes now, 2 opinions. Perhaps the ability to resonate differently for one, Tyler Guyton. You hope that that's what occurs and that pans out. I hope that that's what pans out. I just can't rule out O-line because of what I've already seen. If there really is no qualified candidate at 12, then okay. Or trade back, right? Trade back and select whatever. Guard, tackle, you name it. The Cowboys sure are leaving that door, at the very least, it's cracked, right? Kelvin Banks, Armand Mimbu, Jonas Avainea, and Tyler Booker now, according to Calvin Watkins. They're doing their homework. They don't think that they're good enough. Those are 3 of those 4 are first round names, most likely. But the 4th now, this context right here, this also dropped today. Albert Breer.
So you're on the clock with Seattle at 18.
Gray Zabel, easiest. Turn in the pick. Don't even think about it.
Oh, that's great. Like that I have heard that name so much, and it's such a big need for them. And you know what? Like, I will say this. Teams love him. I could see him going as high as 12 to Dallas. Like, Gray Zabel is, you know who he is? He's Graham Barton from last year.
Yep.
Where it's like wrong. You know what I mean? Like,
do not walk to the podium. That's it.
Yeah, you are not going to get this one wrong. And it's such a crying need for the Seahawks too. That interior offensive line has been a problem for them. And
just something to think about. Who knows who Albert Breer is talking to? And like I said, once again, I'll be the first to acknowledge it's smokescreen season. But once again, this is supportive evidence, maybe, for me. But it's not. It's just, it's almost confirmation that I'm at least on the right track with the way that I am viewing what has happened so far with rebuilding, retooling. The offensive line room. The best player on your board is an offensive lineman, whether it's Tyler Booker after a trade back, whether it's Josh Simmons, whether it's Armand Mimbu, whether it's Kelvin Banks. And my Kelvin Banks candid take it's going to get pushed to tomorrow. Because Kelvin Banks, y'all got it twisted on. I'm going to just say that right now. Somebody's going to get a Warrior. And if he does so happen to be the pick at 12 or otherwise for the Cowboys this week on Thursday, that warrior is going to get a lot of disrespect from a fan base that just doesn't know. That'll be tomorrow. We'll close with this. It's no given that the Cowboys go wide receiver in round 1. Calvin Watkins of the Dallas Morning News, at Alabama guard. Tyler Booker as one of the Cowboys' 30 visits. But Lando, from the Lando show, just an uncredentialed YouTuber, when he says it though, he's just stupid. He gets laughed at. Months in advance, by the way. This stuff here, it's smokescreen season. I've reported that. I've written that. I've YouTubed that. I've tweeted that. This doesn't change my opinion. This is just due diligence. Turning over every rock. Looking in between every corner, every couch cushion, every back seat, every jean pocket. To get better. This doesn't mean that the Cowboys have to take an offensive lineman at 12. That's not what I'm saying. I have never said that. This doesn't mean that the Cowboys don't need a skill position player. Shouldn't go wide receiver. I've never said that. It means what I've maintained and what most of you, it sounds like, and at least in my comment section, refuse to acknowledge, the Cowboys aren't good enough yet up front. They know it. These moves confirm it. Yes, they have brought in a lot of outside assets this offseason in free agency. Which one of those guys to you moves the needle? Which one of those guys to you wasn't a bargain bin free agent addition? Which one of those guys to you are you hanging your hat on and saying, nah, we're good? If the best player on the Cowboys board, when they're on the clock at 12 or after a trade back, wherever, is an offensive lineman, we're good. We haven't been bullied. Our most embarrassing losses in the last 5 years, dating back to arguably even the Rams playoff loss. The Niners, both times, controlled the trenches. The Packers, boy. And then don't get me started on some of the regular season shortcomings. The Buffalo blueprint. The Arizona Cardinals in week 3 2 years ago. You better get ready to play the Eagles for the next however long. With them looking the way that they do on the trenches on both sides of the ball. Get ready. All I'm saying, and I know I'm the bad guy because I'm just a non-credentialed YouTuber. The Cowboys aren't good enough up front. And they know it. So why can't we collectively admit it? Y'all can't see me right now. I'll reload it for you, and then we'll get up out of here. Because we were done anyways, but I do appreciate y'all tapping in. Give me 1 second here. All right. Thank you to the official partner of the Lando Show, by the way, getyourwagon.com. You can actually scan this code right here. My discount is already added in to the QR code. So all you gotta do is scan it, and the 10% off will be built into it. That one right there at the top of your screen. I'm telling you, you check their stuff out. When I say they got something for everybody, you'll see right away what I mean when I say that. The fastest growing, in my opinion, the best golf apparel manufacturer in the world right now. But the best part is you don't have to love golf to love their stuff. They got something for everyone. So thank you, guys. I hope that makes sense to you. Let me know your thoughts, man. I'm genuinely curious. I'm genuinely curious to know if that even resonated well, if that makes sense, and how many people thought that I was crazy for maybe you saw something that I said or heard something that I wrote or whatever, and then you heard this. Did this clear it up? Was it like an aha moment for you? Because there's just so much to process and sift through right now as we continue the countdown towards Thursday. But I couldn't be more excited to see how it all unfolds because, like I said, I really don't think that there's any one position outside of quarterback and let me think here. Yeah, that's about it. That the Cowboys couldn't stand to improve. Like if you can make your roster better, if that's the best player that you got when you're on the clock, you take it. You take him. All right. Calvin Banks tomorrow, plus a whole lot more. I'll unpack some things and then why Emeka Ibuka is being a little bit too slept on right now for the Cowboys and otherwise. I have all that for you tomorrow. Remember, prayer changes things and the war's already won.